Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnana-Jana-Shalakaya Chakshur-Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri-Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri-Guru Shri-Juta-Padakamalam Shri-Gurun Vaishnavansha Shri-Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padana Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vichansha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone. So after Purushottam Mass is the first class. So before we start, I would like to thank all of the devotees here for putting so much effort in chanting so many extra rounds for the pleasure of Radha Gopinath. It's very nice. And as a group, I think you would have read the message. We did around 15,563 extra rounds. That's a lot of rounds. And that was done actually mostly by around, I would say 30 to 40 devotees. Most of the percentage came from there. It was very, very nice. So thank you all of you. And many devotees did 64 rounds for the first time in their life. So I hope they could continue some other time. Damodar Mass is coming. If possible, please make a plan and see whatever best possible for you. And you can also try to chant extra rounds on Ekadashi. Prabhupada preferred that we should chant extra rounds on Ekadashi. Okay, so we are in the 13th chapter in the last section, which is called Jnana Chakshusha. So I think we just started this section. But before we go to this section, we'll just repeat what we have learned so far in this chapter. So chapter 13, in the beginning, Arjun asked 6 questions. Anyone remembers what are the 6 questions Arjun asked? Or you can tell few, that's okay. Prasanatma Prabhu thinking deeply.
Yeah, Prabhu, Kshetra, Kshetrajna,
Thank you.
Purusha.
Yes, thank you.
Then Jnana and Deya.
Wow, you've done 5. The last one, Purusha and Prakriti.
Purusha.
So Purusha and Prakriti. Thank you, Prabhuji. You've done very well. 5 out of 6 is correct. That's great. So we have already learned about Kshetra and Kshetragya in the first few verses. Then Krishna told in 5 verses about the Jnana. How many elements in Jnana Krishna gave? Anyone remembers? Just the number. How many components Krishna gave in these 5 verses, 8 to 12 for Jnana?
20.
Thank you, Akhandasa Prabhu. So he gave 20 elements and he said anything else besides this is called Ajnana. And then he told about the Gyeya. Anyone knows the meaning of Gyeya in English or Hindi? Object of knowledge. So what are the 3 different object of knowledge which we read in summary, we can say? Anyone? So object of knowledge is the absolute truth, soul, and the interaction. And what is the goal of that knowledge? Love to that absolute truth. So the goal is love, and the object which you are studying at the moment is soul, super soul, and their interaction. And the last topic in the 6 questions were Prakriti and Purusha, which we studied in the last week class. So let's do a quick revision. I'll leave that one. I'll just do some main verses. 1321, that's a very nice one. Manmohan Prabhuji, would you like to start?
Sure, Prabhu. I don't remember a lot, but I'll try, Prabhu.
Okay, no problem.
Just opening that shloka, Prabhu.
No problem.
Yes. So the translation is, nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of the various sufferings and enjoyments in this world. So this verse, you said the next verse is actually the Bij Vakya, you said 22, and both are related. In this verse, you said that there is always a cause and effect. So the Karana and which is Karya is the effect and Karana is the cause. And so Purusha is like us. In this verse, it is addressing the living entities who are enjoying. So they are the cause of they are the reason for the cause and effect. And the effect is sukha or dukha in this verse. In the next verse, it would be taking different species of life in the higher or the lower species. But in this verse, the result is sukha and dukha. And the reason is that we are trying to be the enjoyer. So the important word is bhoktatva, in enjoyment. So in summary, the verse is saying that because we have the propensity to enjoy, we want to be the Purusha, which results into different cause of our happiness and suffering in this, or the cause of enjoyment and suffering in this material world. I think you gave the example of like prashadam in the plate. So we see the effect, which is the all the effort which was put in by Mataji's in the kitchen, and the effect has come in the form of the shadam. So that was one example. You gave some other examples. I can't remember all of them, Prabhu. So that is what the main theme of this verse is, that because we are trying to enjoy, it's producing all these effects of suffering and enjoyment.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Nice. Just to expand on that example of prasadam, so someone has been putting some effort in the kitchen and you get prasadam in the plate. I don't remember the example, but you have mentioned, so I'm just expanding. Anyway, now if you eat that kheer, for example, Mataji made a nice kheer. So if you eat that kheer, now you may experience sukha or dukha, isn't it? Based on your taste. Suppose you wanted more sugar, for example. You say, ye kya hai? Sugar hi nahi hai.
And I remember, Prabhu, you said when we offer it to Krishna and we forget to put the salt, but because we are honoring the prasadam, so you gave the example of having prasadam and eating food and honoring prasadam. So honoring is because Krishna has tasted it. So even if we forgot to put the salt, I mean, it's been tasted by Krishna, so it's become Amrit. So it is prasadam. So we have to honor it. Whereas, if we are trying to enjoy it, then it is not actually, we are not honoring it. So I think that was
Yeah,
somewhat.
we discussed like that because we are putting salt or sugar, whatever, as per our taste. So we still have our taste instead of Krishna has tasted it. And I think we also get the example of Bharat Maharaj, Jad Bharat, I should say. He was tasting, it says, burnt rice as Amrit. Now, how many of us can do that? Not sure. But he was actually in the technical honoring the prasad, honoring the prasad. Yeah. So coming down to that, so nature, karya karan, as Manmohan Prabhuji was explaining, cause and effect in the material nature. Another example which comes to my mind, suppose a storm comes, a flood comes in the city. It practically destroys the whole city or a part of the city. So what was the karan? What was the cause of that? Nature was the cause. And the effect is also in nature and see. But sukha and dukha can be experienced by a person. Suppose my family was involved, I'll be in dukha. I'll be very miserable because my family is been involved or affected by that flood or fire. And some people may be sukha. They'll say, oh, the prices will increase now, I'll make extra money and blah, blah, blah. So same cause and effect which is done by nature is causing sukha and dukha based on our bhoktatva mentality. Bhoktatva can lead to sukha or dukha, either way. But suppose if we were not involved, many times I think we were discussing the example in newspaper, we read a small headline, say Indian newspaper, 40 people died in a bus accident. We have no impact, practically speaking, because we are not related to it. Our bhoktatva is not there. As soon as bhoktatva is there, we will feel sukha and dukha. So it is based on our identification with that incident. We feel sukha or dukha. Another example, I think we discussed about a movie. In a movie, if hero is beating the villain, we'll be happy. Yeah. Or maro. Beat more. But if our hero is getting beaten or some loved ones on the screen, we know it's all drama. It's all drama. There is no villain, there is no hero, but it's still some Matajis you will see crying while watching a movie. They know it's a movie. They're still crying because the movie makes them so emotional. It's all drama. So because we identify with that hero or heroine or some figure there, we feel like, oh, it's a very sad incident, and you start feeling crying, or you laugh when a villain is getting beaten. So this is what the gist of this verse is a Purusha, because we have this bhoktatva mamla, bhoktatva feeling, emotions of bhogana, enjoying, that will lead to sukha and dukha with the incident which is done by modes of material nature. I should rather say material nature at this stage. Modes have not entered as yet. Okay, so this is an important verse. A similar thing is said in the second verse, and as Prabhuji said, this is a bij vakya. Ujjwala Samataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
I had one question
Yes.
with regards to this enjoying mentality, the
Yes.
bhoktatva word.
Yes.
So, just as a jiva has the service attitude, that's the nature of the jiva. Is the enjoying mentality also the nature of the jiva, or is it in the perverted form that it's present in the conditioned world? And are we supposed to get rid of it, or do we enjoy it along with Krishna when we serve Krishna?
Yeah, very nice question. So Mata is saying Jiva has service attitude. Now here we are saying Jiva has this bhoktatva attitude or enjoying mentality. Both are correct. In the way we actually have bhoktatva, we have enjoying mentality. But how do we enjoy? Now, just to give you a very mundane example, Mataji, which comes to my mind. In India, at least I have seen, I'm not sure other parts of the world, some people beat themselves. Have you seen those people with the whip, with a koda? They whip on their back and they bleed. Now, just looking at this, and I've seen probably once or twice, has been impressed in my mind when I was very, very young. It's a very ghastly scene to look at, but some people actually enjoy it. So how you enjoy it, that's what it matters. Now, enjoying mentality itself is not wrong. As a part of Krishna, we also are Anand Mayo Bhyasat, Prabhupada says in Katha Upanishad. So we are also seeking enjoyment. There's no problem with that. But how do you seek enjoyment? By, say, eating a nice plate of prasadam, you can feel enjoyment. That's perfectly fine, right? It's been offered to Krishna. Or I can be like a Mragari, just comes to my mind. I can half kill the jivas and enjoy that way. When Narad Muni asked Mragari, who is the one who is killing all these? And he said, yes, I am the one who is killing. So Narad Muni, the first sentence Narad Muni said, you should at least kill them fully. So Narad Muni was not recommending violence there. What he was saying, don't kill them like this because they suffer so much. And what was his answer? I enjoy seeing them like this. When they die like this, I really enjoy. So enjoying mentality is there in all the jivas. That's not a problem at all. How do you enjoy? Through service to Krishna, we enjoy. Or through service to, as Prabhupada says, if you don't serve God, you serve dog. In the morning, you can go in the park and you'll see some people are serving dog and they're enjoying. Some people serve their family and then they enjoy. Nothing wrong with that. So how do you enjoy? That's what it matters. So enjoying mentality itself should not be curbed, but it should be just dovetailed in a proper way. And if we enjoy through the right channels, that's soul's enjoyment. Yaya Atma suprasidati. In Bhagavatam, it says 1 to 6. Your Atma will get satisfied, not just your bodily titillation. One more incident comes to my mind. One lady went to some marriage or engagement ceremony. I can't remember, some local young boys and girls. Anyways, she was telling she went to this party, and there the person who was getting engaged, he had arranged a wonderful feast. And I hate to tell, but you know what was in the feast? Snakes and crabs, and snakes live skin of the snakes were taken off right on the spot, or they were just taken off. And this lady who eats meat and everything, she was completely terrified by looking at the party. It was, I think, her cousin, brother, or someone. She was telling a day or two later, she said, I cannot forget this. So I got an opportunity to tell her about vegetarianism in that moment. So she's definitely, she was non-vegetarian, but so the person who arranged the party was enjoying seeing these snakes skin getting ripped off. And that's how he thought my guests will enjoy as well. So people have different definitions of enjoyment. So that definition needs to be corrected, not the mentality.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. And that's why if you see Mataji, in the verse it says, Sukha and Dukkha, both are there through Bhoktritve. Both are there. And who will define this Sukha and Dukkha? We, Purusha. We will define. So like your definition of Sukha may be different than my definition of Sukha. And same other way, Dukkha as well. You may enjoy serving other people. I may enjoy exploiting other people. So because of this mentality. Okay, let's go to the next one, which, as Manmohan Prabhuji said, is a Bij Vakya, very important verse. And this verse practically leads to the whole Bhagavad Gita from this point onwards. Satyabhama Mata, would you like to say a few things?
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. So, in this one, Prabhu, in the gist of it, if we are associating with the good people and our association is good, then our result and consequences would be accordingly. So for example, a devotee is associating with pure devotees and we are having a sadhu sangha, then the result is definitely going to be positive. However, if somebody is going into the evil or association of a demoniac person, then the result and consequence would be evil only. And in this we discuss about...
But just on that point, sorry to be a devil here. Now that the demons, as per your definition, may think, my demoniac friend is my best friend. Like Kansa thought, Tranavat, Shaktasur, Putana, they were their best mates actually. They were having party, they were having plans. And so the Kansa type mentality people will find Putana and Shakatasur, Tranavat, Keshi, Vyomasur, they are the real people. Actually, you guys are mad. How do you explain that? Because you are saying they are evil, right? And
Yes.
they are saying exactly same about you or people like you.
Yes. Prabhuji, that's why it is important to read the scriptures and know what is right and what is wrong. It is important to have the association, have guru, because as a person, everybody would have a different opinion. This is good as per their way. So it's important to have association and reading of scriptures, what is recommended as per the scriptures, and then having a guru to guide and then clear our doubts with them. Otherwise, everybody would be going in a wrong direction, thinking
Yep.
they are independent and they can do whatever way they would like to do.
Yep.
So like
And
when we are reading the scriptures, we are learning from you, so we know what is right and what is wrong, and then we are clarifying our doubts in the right direction as well.
And
So
one more example, Prabhupada sort of added on that. So government will decide what is right and wrong, not the thief and police. Now police will say I'm right, thief will say I'm right. And same, everyone can say I'm right, I'm right. So who will decide? So government. And similarly, the scriptures will define what is right. And so we're not saying it's our opinion. As per my opinion, this, no, our opinion has no value. Shastra is saying, Guru is saying, sadhus are saying. So we can give that example. Sorry, I just sort of expanded.
no problem. And So we also discussed about like when we have attachment to the children, that's not wrong, but attachment, like as the scriptures say that we should not have attachment, but having the attachment with children is actually not wrong, as long as we are guiding and our children in the right direction to become a devotee, or helping them to choose right things in their life and become a devotee eventually, and use all their capabilities and services towards Krishna. So then it would not be wrong. And having an attachment and helping them is good actually. So
Actually, it's necessary as well.
yes.
It's necessary because Krishna has given us that seva. So it's not only definitely not wrong, but it's necessary to have those attachment through Krishna and for a proper purpose. I think today in VSS someone sent a quote, which Prabhupada's quote, daily quote. I think it was Jamati Mataji. I can't remember the exact words, but Prabhupada said, if you cannot deliver your child, don't become a father. So that's the purpose. Very, very responsible position. Thank you, Mata.
We also discussed that, these sukha dukha are temporary, and we are going through different species of life one after the other based on our thinking only. And now it's high time we should stop thinking and being independent and start having that mentality of enjoying, which is eventually bringing us more with sufferings and having more lifetimes. So it's high time we should realize that, and we should go in the right direction, read scriptures, chant Hare Krishna mantra, and engage ourselves in the devotional service for Krishna.
Thank you, Madhuri. I'll just take a few Sanskrit words here as well. Purushaha prakrtistho hi. So Purusha refers to here living entity. Now Purusha had different meanings, as I've said many times. So one meaning obviously is Purusha refers to Krishna, but another here referring to Jiva, not Purusha. And here in this sort of context, you can say Jiva is Purusha and Krishna is Purushottama. So he's the topmost Purusha. In another definition, we can say only Krishna is Purusha, he is the enjoyer, and we are Prakriti. Based on different contexts, the meaning will be chosen. So here Purusha definitely refers to the living entity. Prakriti istho. Istho means sthit hai, situated. So Jiva is where it's situated? In Prakriti. So he's situated in Prakriti, and what he has in his mind, bhungte or bhuktratve, similar thing. Bhungte means bhogna. We all have this bhogna mentality or bhungte mentality. Prakriti jan gunan, due to what? Gunan means modes of material nature, which we'll read in the 14th chapter in detail. Gunan, modes of material nature which are born out of Prakriti. So because of the modes of material nature which are born from Prakriti, we have this bhungte mentality and we are situated in this Prakriti. Karanam gun sangosya. Gun sangosya. So why is attachment to the guna? So whatever we see around us, this is the vikar, transformation of gunas, we'll read in 14th chapter, and that will lead to sad, asad, yoni, janshus. That will lead to sad or asad yoni. Now, in the previous verse, as Manmohan Prabhuji nicely was saying, so sukha and dukha, which can be a temporary experience. So in one incident, I can feel sukha or dukha. That's a temporary experience. But sad, asad, yoni, janmisu, that's like a permanent, not permanent. It is leading to a next yoni. That's a great thing. And then it keeps on happening, keeps on happening, keeps on happening. So what is the seed here? Seed, if I have to say in one word, the seed is bhungte or bhoktratve. So this is why this is called Bijvakya. 1322 as per our Acharya is called Bijvakya. And this Bijvakya opens up the whole Bhagavad Gita, rest of the Bhagavad Gita. Can anyone explain how? Anyone?
And 15, Prabhu, we'll talk about the tree.
Yeah, so maybe Prabhuji, we can talk about 14 first. So this is a bija, then you water the bija.
The bija, yeah.
And water is modes of material nature.
Yes.
So that's 14th chapter. Yes, and then
15 is a tree.
And then bija will sprout into a tree. That's 15. Yes, Prabhu.
15 would be the top of the tree and the bottom with the demons and
Demon and the divine and the demoniac. That's a chapter name. Prabhupada. Yes.
And 18 was conclusion.
So
17.
17 is the middle range, Prabhuji. So not everyone will be a complete demon or a complete divine. Most of us actually sits in the middle. So we are sometimes demon, sometimes divine. So middle range people are covered in 17th chapter, and finally 18th is the conclusion. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. So let's move to the next one. 1323 is extremely important. Our Rupam Prabhuji is not here. Otherwise, I'm not sure it's in the list, but please have in your personal list. This is a very important verse. It's quoted by many speakers. Prabhupada was quoting this many times. Very nice verse. Who would like to do that?
Hare Krishna, I can do it, Prabhu. If you
Hare
want.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Can I do it?
Yes, please.
Translation. Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the super soul. Hare Krishna. So basically, as you mentioned in your lecture last time, this is actually the profile or the job description of the super soul. Now there are five important things which are mentioned here. The five characteristics are the super soul is Upadrashta. So he is the overseer, watching everything that we do, but he's just the observer. He does not interfere with what we do. Second one is the Anumanta. So he is the sanctioner or permitter. So without his permission, nothing can, no action can happen without his will. Third one is Bharata, which is like a maintainer, master maintainer of all the entities, like providing food, feeding, taking care, etc., etc. Fourth one is he is the Bhokta, he is the enjoyer of everything. So essentially, we actually are enjoying through him. Actually, he is the first primary enjoyer. And the last one is he is Maheshwara, Maha Ishwar. So he is the supreme Lord and proprietor of everything. So basically here, this verse is talking about the second Purusha, second Purusha, which is residing in the body. The first one is the soul. The second one is the super soul. So this is the qualifications of the super soul. Now we also discussed that we should actually pray and try to invoke the mercy of the super soul, so that he can, the Lord can actually actively interfere in our lives, so that we do the right things and encourage us in our journey to Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice. Just one word we can take from the last Sanskrit here. Dehe asmin. So asmin dehe means this deha. So previous two verses we were talking about Purusha as well, talking about the soul of the living entity, right? Now here saying Purusha para. Para means there's another transcendental Purusha which resides in the same deha as the dehi, which we are. We are the occupier. We are not the owner. We are the occupier, which does all these five functions, which is beautiful. So if you can remember this verse, this will really help to even, give some evidences from Bhagavad Gita. You can say there are two Purushas residing. One is, see, if we try to elaborate this in a Mayavadi sense, for example, we should not, but for example, are we Updrashta? Are we the overseer of everything? We cannot apply this verse as a Mayavadi concept. We just cannot. Anumanta, are we the permitter of everything? We would love to. We would love to, be a boss of everything and everyone come and ask, Prabhuji, Mataji, can I do this? Can I do this? We'll feel very good. But we are not. Hardly anyone listens to us, isn't it? We would love to show our, bossness to everyone. It doesn't happen. Are we the Bharta? Maybe we are the little Bharta of a small family. Sometimes we are able to feed, sometimes we are not. Feeding here does not mean just the food and air and all that. Feeding means satisfying them. How far we can do that? Very little, very little. Saying satisfying others is the most difficult job. It says even Krishna is unable to do that. Technically he can, but practically speaking, Bhokta, supreme enjoyer. We are definitely not supreme enjoyer. We are not. Just a little enjoyer. Maha Ishvara, we cannot be Maha. We are Ishvara, okay. We are Ishvara means controller. Ishvara, technical meaning of Ishvara is we are controller. That's okay. But controller in a very limited sense for a very limited time. My hand is working right now. After 1 hour, my hand will work or no. There's no guarantee with that. There's no guarantee. So we are definitely not Mahishvara. So even if you sort of, for the devil's sake, try to apply this, it will not work. It will not work. And then it says there's another person. Iti, also there's a super soul, Paramatma, reside in the same body, which is transcendental and have all these 5 characteristics. So very beautiful verse, which clearly represents there is 2 soul and super soul inside each body. Okay, what is the result of that? We can just quickly do this 1324. Anyone else? Jai Dharma Prabhu, would you like to do that?
Sorry, Prabhu, 24, Prabhu.
Yes.
One who understands this philosophy concerning the material nature, the living entity, and the interaction of the modes of material nature is sure to attain the liberation. He will not take birth again, and regardless of his present position. So here, I think Lord is explaining the person who is able to understand who exactly is the super soul and understands his various characteristics, and thinking that he is the supreme enjoyer and he is the Bharta, providing everybody the food and shelter and also the supreme Lord, then they will not be affected by the interactions of modes of nature, which we had also seen, Daivesha, Gunamai, Maya, Duratya. So the one who actually surrenders to the Lord, he can gradually lead to liberation, and because of that he will not take birth again back in this material world. So some of the words I think are repeated here. Purusha, again here it is referring to the living entity, and Prakriti, the material nature, and Guna, the modes of material nature, and Sarvata, which is like in all ways, and Vartamana, being situated, and Vijayate is Bhuya is again, and Vijayate is taking birth again.
Abhijayate. Yeah, so just one thing, Prabhuji. So this is basically not talking about Paramatma here at all. It's talking about these 3 topics which we have discussed earlier. So Purusha, Prakriti, and their interaction through the modes of material nature. One who knows these 3 will not take birth again. Simple as that. So because we don't see Atma sitting here. We don't see modes of material nature interacting with each other. We see, okay, this person is wrong, this person is not behaving properly and blah, blah, blah. But if we start seeing on the other side, from the Atma side and from the modes of material nature side, then we'll not, it says, no, I think Jesus said, hate the sin, not the sinner. Now, it's difficult. It's difficult to see that way. I'm also repeating a line here, but that's the point. That's the point. This person is a pure soul. When Vibhishan refused to do the final rites of Raman, Lord Ram said, you should not hate it. Raman's soul is a pure soul. Now Raman's body is dead. You should do your final duty as well and help this soul to achieve the next destination. So soul is always pure, whether it's a Raman's soul or Hiranyakashipu's soul or a Prahlad Maharaj's soul. Soul is always pure. Okay, so that was the result of knowing these 3 things. And obviously it means you know it and you apply for it. Okay, 1325. Who can just tell the summary of 1325? We don't have to go to the verse. Anyone can tell the summary, what's happening in this verse? It relates to 24.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Can I
Hare
try?
Krishna, yes, please.
So
Just
this
a quick summary, Mataji, here.
Yeah, this verse 25 is talking about the 3 ways of knowing this knowledge about the super soul.
Thank you.
And the 3 ways are through meditation, which is Dhyana Yoga. Then it's cultivation of knowledge, which is Sankhya Yoga. And the third is working without fruitive desires, which is Karma Yoga. So these 3 have been pointed out in this verse.
Yes.
So these are the 3 ways one can understand super soul, basically.
And transcend. Thank you, Mataji.
And transcend. And the 4th one is given in verse 26.
Thank you, Mataji. You got the whole gist. And what's the 4th one? You can just say in your words.
It's again about how people who don't know about spiritual knowledge, but who start worshipping the Supreme Lord after hearing from the authorized people, from the authorities, and then they transcend the path of birth and death.
Yeah. So basically, the word which you can choose here is Shruti Parayana.
Yeah.
Now, Shruti can have multiple meanings, but Shruti here, Prabhupada writes, is hearing from authorities. Now, Shruti can also mean Shruti and Smriti. So one who takes shelter of that Shruti, which is a bona fide knowledge, they can also transcend. Why it's been put other way? Because we are in the Jnana section. But still Bhakti is glorified. Thank you, Mataji. 27. Rasan and Prabhuji, should you like to do one?
Translation. O chief of Bharata, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Prabhuji.
know that whatever you see in existence, both the moving and non-moving, is only the combination of the field of activities and the knowledge of the field. So actually, this is the next section, Prabhu. We are talking about the Jnana Sakshu, the vision of knowledge. So here, those who can see the distinction between the body, the owner of the body, and the super soul, and who recognize what we have seen now is liberation, how we can attain liberation, attain the supreme goal.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So here we are talking both in terms of moving and non-moving. That means, combination of material and living entities in the field of activities. Let me see my notes.
So we can just take these two lines as a
Yeah,
simple.
Kinchit everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So Sthavar and Jangam, we can say, as you already said, Prabhuji. So Sthavar means one who does not move.
Moving. Yeah.
And
Jangam is
Jangam, which
moving.
is moving. And Sattam refers to the existence. So like mountains, rivers also, they are also existing. And obviously humans and animals and all that which moves, they are the Jangam ones. So whatever existence we see, that is due to what? You can say Kshetra
combination.
and Kshetragya Sanyogat. Kshetra means area, so there's a body. And Kshetragya, there is a knower of the body. So when they combine together, and obviously Kshetragya refers to both soul and super soul, when they combine together, they produce something. Now a tree's body also has a soul and a super soul. The bodily characteristics are like that, they do not move. That's a different story, but they are the jiva. So whatever you see, that's a combination of field of activities and the knower. Field of activities means Kshetra and the Kshetragya. So very
combination
simple.
of Prakriti and Purusha. Yeah.
You can say that. Yeah. So now Krishna is starting this final section called Jnana Chakshusha. So Chakshu means, anyone remembers? Chakshu, Akshi, Adhokshaj.
Vision, Sakshu.
I. So Chakshu refers to I. Chakshus Manvantar. So there's a Manvantar. In 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first chapter, you'll see different Manus names are given. So one of the Manus, I think it's the 4th one if I'm not wrong. Chakshus Manvantar. So Chakshu, Akshi, they all refers to I. So Jnana Chakshu refers to the eye of knowledge, you can say, practically speaking. So it says when you see the word, you should see the word not with the physical eye, like the eye which we have, you just see red, blue, green, male, female, nice or not so nice sceneries and all that. We should refer to them with Jnana Chakshu. So you should have a glass, like I also have a glass. This is just a glass or a plastic glass. We should have the glass of the chashma of, like Prasanatha Prabhu sent the video clip, Bhakta ka chashma. So here Shastra is saying you should have my chashma, means Jnana Chakshu chashma. So we should see the word with the eyes of knowledge. That's what it's saying. Now this section, although Krishna has given all the answers of Arjuna's question, 6th question, this you can say this like a summarized section Krishna is giving towards the end of this chapter. And the first principle is that whatever Sthavar Jangam you see, that's a combination of Kshetra and Kshetragya. Let's see the next one. Some beautiful verses actually here. 1328. We are starting this one today. Vinay Prabhu, I'm not sure whether you can read. If not, that's all right. Okay, you can.
Yes, I can read, Prabhuji.
Okay,
Which
Prabhu,
one?
fine.
Is start from 28?
28, yes.
Yeah. Shamam sarveshu bhuteshu
Samam sarveshu bhuteshu
tishtantam parameswaram
tishtantam parameshwaram
vishansatsu avinashantam
vinashasva avinashadnam
yah pashyati shapashyati.
yaha pashyati sapashyati.
Hare Krishna.
Translation.
And translation, yeah. Once who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul within the distribute body is covered, destroyed, actually cease. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So, samam sarveshu bhuteshu. So, sarveshu bhuteshu, in all the bhutas, what is needed here? Samam. Anyone remembers a similar verse earlier in Bhagavad Gita? A similar verse which says sort of some equivision.
Samo sarva bhuteshu.
Okay, that's from Krishna's side. That's from Krishna's side. Anywhere else? 518 we can say Vidya Vinay Sampane Brahmani Gavasari. So a Jnani sees all these bodies differently, but as same person inside. Samam Sarveshu, in all the Bhuteshu, in all the Jivas, what does he see? Tishtantam. Tishtantam mane sthitam. Prakritisthohi, we are reading about. So istha dhatu, wherever you see, that means situated. So Tishtantam, what is Tishtantam? Parameshwaram. Parameshwaram. So in all the bodies, what is he seeing? Every body has a super soul. So Prabhupada writes, one who sees a super soul accompanying the individual soul in all the bodies, in Sarveshu Bhuteshu. Now, what does it impact? Vinashasva. Vinashasva means getting destroyed. Avinishantam means not getting destroyed. So which gets destroyed and which does not get destroyed? Anyone? Body gets destroyed. And what does not get destroyed? Soul doesn't get destroyed. So this is the vision we are talking. Yaha pashyati, one who sees like that. Sapashyati, that only sees. Now here, again, seeing does not mean a physical seeing. Seeing through the Jnana Chakshu, through the Shastra, there are two things. One thing is the body, which is destructible, Vinashasva. And Avinashantam is what? Soul. So one who sees this way, there's a super soul situated in all the bodies, in all the bhutas. Body gets destroyed, but the soul does not get destroyed. He only sees it. So basically, what is the crux of this verse? The person who sees the bodies is not seeing it. What he sees, the soul behind the body and the super soul behind the body, that person only sees it. Now, how many of us can see that way? Not sure, but this is the message of Krishna here. We should start seeing the soul and the super soul behind the bodies. Then only you are seeing. Otherwise, actually, sometime you will hear that Dhritarashtra was not only physically blind, he was even mentally blind. So physical blindness means we have no sort of eyesight. We cannot see the outside. But mental blindness means we cannot see what's happening around us in terms of spirituality. We cannot relate anything with the spirituality. We cannot relate the jivas with their soul and super soul. So if we don't have that vision, we are blind, although we may have eyes. So that's what the call of this verse is. Let's go to the next one. 1329. Who has an Prasanatma Prabhu? Would you like to do one?
Yes, Prabhu. Samam pashyan hi sarvatra.
Samam pashyan hi sarvatra.
Samavasthitam Ishwaram.
Samavasthitam Ishwaram.
Na hinasti atmanatmana.
Na hinasti atmana atmanam.
Tato yati param gatim.
Tato yati param gatim.
One who sees the super soul equally present everywhere, in every living being, does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus, he approaches the transcendental destination.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So now again, continuing a similar theme from the previous verse, 28, Samam Pashyan hi sarvatra. Similar theme, Samam Pashyan. Where does he see Sama? Equality everywhere, sarvatra. There's another word in Sanskrit, sarvatra and sarvada. Anyone knows the difference? Sarvatra and sarvada. There's a common thing and there's an uncommon thing. Yes, Chair Dharma Prabhu?
Sarvatra is everywhere.
Yes.
Sarvada is always.
Yeah. So sarvada refers to time. Sarv means always and all the time. And atra refers to place. Sarvatra, sarvada. So you can just understand like that. So here says samam pashyan hi sarvatra, everywhere. What does he say? Sam avasthitam ishwaram. So this Ishvara is samavastham, is equally situated everywhere, whether it's a body of an ant, body of an elephant, body of a human, body of a demigod, even the body of Brahma has a super soul in it and a soul in it. Now, any one of you can become Brahma? Just asking a technical question, practically. Jai Dharma Prabhu is saying no. Any other answers? Jamati Mataji said something else.
Yes, Prabhu, we can become.
Yes.
Yes, who said yes? Now we have
Yes.
some yeses and some no's. Prasanna Prabhu, yes. Akhand Rasa Prabhu, yes.
Yes.
Chidiya ud, Maina ud, like that. Okay, so Jai Dharma Prabhuji, can you please try to reconcile? Some Prabhujis or Matajis saying yes, we can become Brahma. Look at the daring of Jiva. He's trying to become Brahma. How can we do that? Anyone?
I think I read somewhere that if you have lived your life perfectly for 100 lives, one can be eligible to be elevated to Brahma's position.
Wow, thank you. So that is absolutely correct. So if a Jiva lives, performs his Varnashram duties perfectly for 100 continuous lifetimes, he is eligible to become Brahma. It does not mean he will become Brahma. He is eligible to become Brahma. And sometimes it says when Krishna cannot find an eligible living entity in a particular Brahmanda, he himself expands as Brahma. And that's why there's two types of Brahmas. Anyway, don't go there. So sometimes the expansion of Krishna, sometimes it's Jiva. So very, very high position, it can be achieved. It can be achieved. Can you become Lord Shiva? You cannot. No. You cannot become Shiva. You can only become up to Brahma. Shiva is a very different category. It's in between Jiva and Vishnu. But very, very different, very special category. But up to Brahma you can. And actually, Jagadanand Pandit says, when we fell down from the spiritual world, we were all Brahmas. And then we became Brahma, then we became a particular demigod, Indra and all that. And we are down, down, down now. Now we are in Sydney, in a little suburb, Chatswood or Kellyville or Rouseville, wherever you are.
Down and under.
Down and under. Too much under. Struggling with our body and mind on a day-to-day basis. So we have sort of practically fallen so much. Anyway. So samavasitam ishwaram na hinasti. Hinasti refers to degrading. We have used this word as well. Heen hota hai. There's a word in Hindi, heen, which is again from Sanskrit. Na hinasti, it will not degrade. Atmana, atmanam. So atmana refers to mind, and this also has come in the earlier verses, and atmanam refers to the soul. So we get degraded by our mind. Because mind have different definitions of pleasure, and then when mind sort of inspires us to do those activities, we degrade ourselves. So if we are having the sum vision, the equivision, where Paramatma, we are able to see super soul, which is situated along with the soul, when we have that vision in every single body, then what will be the result? Nahinasti, we will not degrade by our mind our soul. We will not degrade our soul. Tatoya. And what will be the result? The proper result, the positive. Tatoyati param gatim. Param gatim means transcendental destination. So, or you can reverse this verse completely. If you want the param gatim, if you want transcendental destination, what is the requirement there? Samam pashyan hi sarvatra. You should start seeing everyone equally. Now you cannot say, sometimes we say, Indians are good and Indian neighbors are not, name it, are not so good, huh? When they win, we don't feel good and all that, huh? So this is what happens because of our not equal vision, not equal vision. See, on a body wise, they may follow another religion, they may follow another color of the body or their flag and blah, blah, blah. But we know everyone is a soul. Huh? Everyone is a different mind consciousness, obviously, there's a soul. When we have that vision, we are eligible, we will become eligible to go back to Godhead, which is the Param Gati. So very, very important, quite difficult. If you remember in 6th chapter, Arjun has asked a similar question when Krishna was saying you should start seeing Yudhishthir and Duryodhan similarly. And Arjun straight away said, not possible, not possible. And what was the answer of Krishna? 634, anyone remembers? Abhyasentu Kaunteya Vairagya Chakrahiyate. So 2 things Krishna recommended, Abhyas and Vairagya. So positive practice constantly and Vairagya from unfavorable things. So whatever is favorable for devotion life, we accept it. What is unfavorable, we reject it, whether it's on a gross level or on a subtle level, whatever it is. Okay, let's go to the 1330. This is very interesting verse, and it relates to our previous verse as well. Very famous verse. Jamati Mataji, would you like to do?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prakriti cha karmani.
Prakritaiva cha karmani.
Kriyamanani sarvasha.
Kriyamanani sarvashah.
Yaha pashyanti tathatmananam.
Yaha pashyati tathatmanam.
Akartaram sa pasyanti.
Akartaram sa pashyati.
One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Anyone remembers a similar verse resonating in your mind in Bhagavad Gita? And I'm sure it should be in the list as well, my list. So the Gopal Prabhu is saying 327. And maybe Satyabhama Mataji can say the verse because Prabhu is not so well. Prakritehe kriya madani gunahi karmani sarvashah ahankar vimhudatma karta aham iti manyate. So the message of both verses are somewhat same, but the way it's said is different. So in the previous verse 327, what was said, I'll just put it on the screen so others can also see. It's 327. So it says, Prakteh Kriyamanani Gunahi Karmani Sarvasha. So the spirit soul bewildered by the influence of the false ego thinks himself the doer of the activities. Rather, they are actually carried out by the 3 modes of material nature. So same thing is said here in 1330, after around 10 chapters. Prakritaiva cha karmani. So who is the doer? Prakriti is the doer. Kriyamanani cha sarvasha. All the activities are done actually by Prakriti. Yaha pashyati, one who sees that. Tathatmanam. So, akartaram. The atmanam refers to soul. You can remember atmana refers to mind. Atmanam refers to the soul. That's what Prabhupada writes. Atmanam refers to the soul himself. Akartaram. So, atma is akarta. The soul is not doing it. Suppose you want to make favorite bhindi ka sabji. Is soul going to go in the kitchen and get a pan and get some, oil and jeera and all that, make a sabji? No, soul is not going to do that. Soul is a karta. Sapashyati. So one who sees like that is sapashyati. So basically, similar message is passed here. So one who sees the soul like that. Now, the way it's been said is exactly opposite. Here, what was said? Ahankar vimhudatma karta ahamiti manyate. So what soul thinks? I am the doer. And here is saying, if the soul thinks I am not the doer, he is the one who sees properly. So, but the message is same. The way it's been said is exactly opposite. Here, the soul is thinking I am the doer, and the soul is called vimudha. Mudha means gadha, as for Prabhupada. Gadha means donkey, if you don't understand Hindi. And vimudha means you can understand yourself. Donkey squire. So, if you think I'm the only doer and no one else is the doer, and you take all the credit, any project got successful, yes, maine kiya hai, I have done it. So actually, as per Bhagavad Gita, you are called vimudha, ahankar vimudha, because it's been done by the Prakriti. Now, if I hurt someone, can I say, oh, Prakriti has done, not me? Is that right? 327, I can quote, huh? Jamati Mataji is laughing at it, huh? But we can misuse the verses as well. Anyone can say anything on that? As I can say, okay, means I don't get the credit, but then you should not punish me as well because of my wrongdoings. It was done by Prakriti. I exploit someone, I steal someone's property, I hurt someone mentally or physically. Can I say it was done by Prakriti? No. Why?
Is the
Soul
soul which
desires.
desires.
Soul who desires, huh? Soul who desires, because soul who desires, even if they get the credit, you get the binding of Prakriti, isn't it? If you think I am the doer, Krishna says, okay, you become the doer and you take the credit. That's no problem. But what will happen? Sad asad yoni janmishu. You will have to take birth in sad asad yoni. Huh? So if you take the credit for good or bad, whatever, Krishna says, yes, you can have it. No problem with that. Huh? But you have ahankar, right? Due to that ahankar, what will be the result? Bhoktatva is there, right? मैंने किया भोक्तृत्वे भोंगते. Krishna says no problem. You continue sad asad yoni janmishu. So when you remove the ahankara, you remove the bhoktatva bhavna, you say Krishna is the doer. Through the Krishna's help, the Guru's help, my devotee's blessings help, I could do it. Then Krishna says, I'll take care of you. Sad dharman pratyaja mamekam prananda. Makes sense? So if you take the credit for whatever good or bad, you take the glory of the crown, you become the king. No problem with that. Krishna doesn't have any problem with that. The only problem with that is we continue our existence in the material world again and again and again. Prasannatma Prabhu.
Nothing, bro. But Krishna has tightened us from everywhere. I'm just
Yes, he's a good father. He's a very good
and
father.
like everything is tight.
Yes, he says, if you want to credit glory, no problem. You can be the man of the match. Huh? That's what they call it, man of the match. Huh? Sachin Tendulkar or whoever. Huh? You can be, but you have to see the consequences as well. Thank you, Prabhu. Ujjwala Samataji or Akanda Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
this, it says that the self does nothing.
Yeah.
Actually, as we just said, that soul desires. So
Yes.
it's a big, activity that the soul does. It's desiring. That's why it's all happening. So how do we understand it that the self does nothing?
So here does refers to your actual implementation. Huh? So obviously you will desire to, you can desire to, help someone or destroy someone, whatever. But your hand and legs, or you will make a phone call, Prabhuji, Mataji, can you please go there and do this and that? Huh? So it's all done by Prakriti. Now, if you suppose, so for 1 second, if you don't desire that project, for example, will you call someone for help or you give them instruction to do nothing? Nothing will happen in that line at all. Suppose a cooking example, simple. You don't desire to cook, for example, huh? And it's 2 o'clock. Akhanda Prabhu say, "Aaj khane mein kya bana hai?" Socha nahi. I never thought about that, right? You said, "Yeah, 2 baj gaye." It's 2 o'clock in the watch. But if you desire, say at 8 o'clock or something, you in the kitchen, aaj kya bhaji hai? Which bhaji is in the fridge? Take it out. And when Akhanda Prabhu comes at 12 o'clock, wow, itna sara khana. So much nice prasada, you'd be very happy, huh? So you can say both ways, huh? So desire is the sort of important factor. It says there are 3 factors involved in this whole world. You can say in a very high level, I'm talking. Prakriti, which is the material nature. Purusha, which you can say a jiva here. And the sanction, which is a Paramatma. Huh? So it's a Purusha desires, like jiva, you and me, desire. Then Paramatma, Parmeshwara, sanctions. As per your karma, it says, you get what you deserve, not what you desire. Suppose you desire to kill 500 people or whatever, right? Then Paramatma will check, is it in his account or her account to be able to kill these 500 people? And if it is, right, you deserve it. Again, in the wrong terms, I'm saying, then you'll say to Prakriti, okay, Prakriti, you can execute it. And then you'll have a machine gun or gas chamber by Hitler and whatnot, execution. But who gets the dosha? Who gets the fault eventually? Not Prakriti. Prakriti has killed it. You get the dosha. You get the fault. So all starts from that. Bhoktratve. That's why it's called Bijavakya.
So basically, this is referring to only the action that is being done in the...
Yes. So when we are talking about doing, that's what we see
action.
in the material world. Halwa किसने बनाया? मैंने बनाया. Palak paneer बहुत अच्छा बना है. मैंने बनाया है. I have done it. That's what the whole world is fighting for, isn't it? Who takes the credit? His Holiness Bhakti Shastri Maharaj said very nicely, Many years ago, he came to Sydney and he made us repeat this sentence 3 times in the class. He said something like that. I can't remember exact words he said. Maharaj said, if it doesn't matter who takes the glory, who takes the credit, we can achieve unlimited success in life. Unlimited success. I think the original said by Abraham Lincoln. But Maharaj made us repeat this sentence in the class again and again and again. Why? That's where the most disagreement lies. Mera naam aana chahiye, my name should come, because I've been working in the kitchen for so long. I've been working in this temple for so long. I've been a big donor. I've been big doer of this and that and that and that. Who takes the glory? And Maharaj said, if it doesn't matter, who takes the glory, we can achieve unlimited success in our life. And that is so true, actually. If you really analyze that, it just makes sense. Many times, I just recently heard in a lecture in somewhere in India, they were doing some Mahayagya. I think Radhesham Prabhu was telling. Yeah, Radhesham Prabhu was telling. In some temple, big temple, doing some Mahabhigya, and many donors who have sponsored that yagya. So somehow a person who was inviting the donors to make their ahuti or something like that forgot to invite one big donor. Just forgot, accidentally. It happens. We're all humans. And he got offended so much. And there's a big drama. And he said, why didn't you invite me on the stage, to do my ahuti? And they apologized later. The temple, whoever was representing that time, said, sorry, it just happened, but please come now. Later, he said, now I will not come. When the time was, and then later realized, and they invited this person. He said, sorry, we forgot your name, but please come and do your seva. Now I will not come. What is this? You gave some donation to Krishna. That's very nice. And human beings, they forgot to take your name. And later on, they realized they're calling your name and he wasn't coming. So Radhesham Prabhu was just mentioning, means what do we really want, Krishna's pleasure or our pleasure? That's what we have to understand. We gave some seva for Krishna, which is given by Krishna. And we appreciate that. There's no doubt in that. People are giving money, their time, their energy to Krishna is appreciated. But eventually, is it for our ego, our pleasure, or Krishna's pleasure? We have to understand that. The seva is given for what? Sundar Prabhuji or Mataji?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, just on the thing that you mentioned that Bhakti Swami Maharaj said about the comment that he made, and he made everyone to repeat that should not matter who does it.
Yeah.
How do we actually apply this in the real world, in our corporate lives that we are living? Because it's totally opposite there.
Exactly. So, bro, corporate life is quite different. And answer to that question is, in one sense, you have to sort of prove yourself at the work, but it says never take it to the heart. Some people, and again, Radhesham Prabhu example I can give, he visited recently, maybe a year ago or something, I heard a lecture from this friend. He visited one of his friend, sort of materialistic friend, but friend, Radhesham Prabhu has many friends. He visited to a hospital, and this fellow was around 33-year-old or something like that. He had a massive heart attack, and Prabhu arrived to the hospital and he said, Prabhuji, how are you? And how did it happen? And he said, this person on the bed who got saved, obviously, he didn't die after that massive heart attack. He said, I was working so hard in this company for last 3 years or something, and the promotion was due to me, but was given to one of my junior, and I could not tolerate it. And he was laughing, and I was laughing as well when I heard that. If I don't get promotion, I never even think about it, but absolutely fine. Actually, I look forward to not getting promoted. It doesn't mean you should not feel. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, yes, you worked hard. It was not acknowledged by your boss for whatever XYZ reasons, we don't know. He got a massive heart attack at the age of 33. Prabhu said, you're young. Like, you don't have, I don't see any massive problem in your family or something like that. He said, yes, there was a massive problem at work. Prabhu said, what's the problem? He said, the promotion was due to me. So, Sundar Prabhu, respond to your question in a very simple way. Don't take it to your heart. You work hard. You do your duties. You have to deliver whatever way you need to deliver. If you have to rise in a corporate ladder, there's nothing wrong with that. Devotees are not supposed to be, having low positions. No, you can have very, very high position, but these things will happen. Some people will not give you what you think you deserve. So don't take it to your heart. Yes, I didn't get the promotion. It's all right. It's not the end of the world. It's not the last time I will get an opportunity to be promoted. So the corporate was is little different. Work very nicely. The example of Arjuna is given. Arjun was very, very expert archer. He did not receive the archery in the blessings of Krishna. I said he worked hard for it. He worked hard, and it's a material skill. It's not material. It's nothing to do with the devotional skill. In Nectar of Devotion, you'll not see in 64 limbs of Bhakti Rupa Goswami mentioning, and you must learn the art of archery with both hands. Arjun was Sabyasachi. Huh? So the point of Arjun being a very, very expert in this field of knowledge, was it very, very hard work? And Krishna is acknowledging him by saying him Sabyasachi. Arjun is not saying, Krishna, by the way, did you realize I can shoot the arrows from both hands? So a person who is knowledgeable or expert or SME in his field will be acknowledged by the people. And actually, to be honest, devotees get a lot of respect in the company as well. In the company as well, not because of their eating habits, but the working habits. They are very smart worker. They have good relationship with the boss. Many times, actually, I have personally experienced, I have wonderful relationship in my company people. Not again due to my eating habits. That's where we disagree. But as a working people, and we join all the meetings on time, we deliver our work, probably the first one, we never delayed in anything. People are happy with our work most of the time. Now, again, you cannot please everyone. Sometimes there will be some exceptions. So that's fine. Now, that principle is mostly for our spiritual life. Because when we're working in a community, we're working in a devotee community, many times, if not all the time, the disagreement happens. Who was working harder? So if we give the glories to other devotees, it's all right. It's perfectly fine. And then actually we feel quite peaceful in our heart that I was not working for the glory. I was working for the pleasure of the Lord. And my Guru and Krishna is watching what I have done, with what attitude I have done, and they will purify me accordingly. So actually that's a very, very satisfying attitude in both ways. In workplace also, when you help others, actually people appreciate you. Thank you for helping me. Huh? You went out of your, they call it out of way. And I'm like, really? I just helped for 10 minutes. Somewhere I'm not glorifying, but I got a certificate of something like that. And I never imagined in my life, some certificate of help or something. And in Tulsa, I think I was totally bewildered. I've never imagined, never worked for it. I'm just like, someone comes to me and asks them if I know, okay, here it is, 5-10 minutes I can give. Not that I prefer, but I give some time. So many times, actually, devotees are very much appreciated in the outside world. One time I remember one devotee in Singapore working for a company. His boss knew he's a Hare Krishna devotee. He was very good worker. He went to a company party, which he hated to go, but he went. The boss met him on the door. Somehow boss was standing on the door. He was welcoming everyone. And when this devotee went to the door and boss said, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be coming here. And he said, go back. So boss was so appreciative. He wasn't like saying anything negative to this devotee. He's saying, you're a Hare Krishna devotee. You're not supposed to come in this party. You go home. It's all right. I'll take care of you. So devotee was so happy and happily sharing this experience. My boss actually helped me because I didn't want to go inside. So many times, sometimes it may be opposite situations as well. It's okay.
Prabhu, I just quickly want to share something.
Yes, please, Mataji.
Yeah. I just want to share, like at my workplace, people, they knew that I only ate certain type of food. Like I wouldn't eat, obviously, non-veg or even onion garlic. So I always never went to the Christmas parties. And while I was going to leave the job, my boss told me, it's the last Christmas. Why don't you come? And I said, I'll come on one condition, if I can bring my own food. And she said, wow, that's fine, no problem. So I took my own prasad, like bigger prasad than what I would normally eat. And I shared with everyone, and people were so happy. They said, why didn't you come every year? You could have brought your own prasad. We could have eaten. And they actually said to me, we enjoyed your food more than what we enjoy in the party.
Yes. So sometimes actually we are, Bhakti, Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj was giving a class on a similar theme when he was sort of sharing. When he was very young, he was working for, I think, Air France. And he was chanting his rounds in his lunch break or tea break somewhere outside. And someone saw him chanting his other staff member. And he said, "What are you doing?" And then he was like, I had to explain him. I couldn't lie, you know. I explained to him, I'm Hare Krishna and I do this meditation and all that. And this person was so impressed with Maharaj, that time, Sandeep Prabhu's explanation. He went and he told every single member of the staff before he came back after his chanting. And then when he came back, Maharaj is telling, I was like a guru. And they had a red carpet for me, and people were asking life questions to me. And he said, many times we become very sort of scared of presenting ourselves as a devotee. But he said, you should become Krishna confident. Krishna confident. Huh? Krishna conscious, obvious. Krishna confident devotee. He said, I wasn't. He was explaining, sharing his own thing. He's saying, but then I became like, yeah, actually, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. We can help so many people in so many ways. So he said, become Krishna confident. Huh? Don't always have to hide. Again, don't have to expose yourself everywhere, but don't have to hide all the time. You can share. People will appreciate. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, 1330. So we see the similarity between the messages. The presentation is quite opposite. Huh? 1330, now 1331. Okay, 1331. Who hasn't done as yet? Madhuri Mataji, would you like to do one? I think her screen is frozen, right? Okay, Mahavasu Prabhu or Mataji, if you are available. Okay, not sure. I'll go in the start. Madhuri Mataji is back. Sorry, your screen was frozen for a moment.
Oh, okay.
No problem. All good.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu, I can do. Yatha bhuta pratag bhavam.
Yatha bhuta pratag bhavam.
Ekastham apashyati.
Ekastham anupashyati.
Tata eva cha vistaram.
Tata eva cha vistaram.
Brahma sampadhyate tada.
Brahma sampadhyate tada.
Translation: when a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere, he attains to the Brahman conception.
Thank you, Mataji. So, yada bhuta prathak bhavam. So, bhuta refers to living entity, prathak refers to, prathak means different, bhavam refers to, bhava refers to nature. Huh? So, all the living entities have different bhavas, different natures, right? But what is the common point there? Ek istham anupashyati, but they're all one. In what sense they are one? They're all spirit souls. So instead of seeing the bodily differences, some is American, Australian, or elephant body, cow body, ant body, human body, instead of seeing all the differences, what we are seeing, ek istham anupashyati. In every body, one ek is situated there. What is that eka? Soul is situated there. Tata eva cha vistaram. And here, say tata eva, sorry, it's the super soul being situated there. So we have to understand super soul. One super soul is situated there. And that one super soul is expanded. Vistar means expansion. Huh? Rajya Vistar. You must have heard this word in our history books. Tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampadhyate tada. So one who sees that one super soul is situated and that super soul is expanded in all the bhutas. And the example our Acharya has given this particular verse of Surya, sun and the sun rays. So one sun is situated, but if you see the reflection of the sun in different pictures, will you see 100 suns? If the 100 pictures are there, water-filled pictures, will you see 100 reflections of the sun? What one sun is there, getting reflected in different. Now, this is a material example, obviously. The energy of sun will be not there. But in terms of super soul, although one super soul being situated in all the bodies, the energy of the super soul doesn't get diminished just because it's been expanded. So Tata evacha vistaram. Vistar means expanded in all the bodies. Brahma sampati. That person is situated in Brahman platform. It's clear? Now this 32 and 33, they are also very nice verses. We'll see some qualities there. I'll just go back to the beginning here. In my screen, this is Manmohan Prabhuji and Shraddha Mataji. Shraddha Mataji, would you like to do one?
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anaditvam gunatvat.
Anaditvam nirgunatvat.
Anaditvam nirgunatvat.
Anaditvam nirgunatvat.
Paramatmayam avyayah.
Paramatmayam avyayah.
Shariro asti api konteya.
Sharirasthopi kaunteya.
Nakaroti na lipyate.
Nakaroti na lipyate.
Translation. Those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So, anaditvam. So, anadi, anyone knows the meaning of anadi? So, adi means beginning.
Beginning.
Anadi means no
There
beginning.
is no beginning.
There's no beginning. Nirgunatvat, anyone can translate that? Nirguna. Beyond the modes of material
Beyond the-
nature. We
beyond-
also use the word for Krishna as well and for the soul as well. Soul in its original position is nirguna. Paramatma yam avyayaha. So Paramatma yam avyayaha. So it says param. So now we have to break this word into two. It says param atma yam avyayaha. Now Paramatma, I was listening to Chaitanya Charan Prabhu and he explains very nicely here. Paramatma word should not be read as Paramatma, it should be read as Param Atma. And it says Paramatma does not always refer to the super soul. It can refer to Param. Param refers to transcendental. Atma refers to Atma, soul. So here Param Atma refers to transcendental soul. Every soul is transcendental, right? And Avyaya. Avyaya means imperishable. So Anadi refers to the beginning. There's no beginning. Avyaya refers to end. Because if you say imperishable, opposite will be perishable. Like you buy milk. Milk is called a perishable product, for example. You leave the milk outside for 6 or 8 hours. What will happen? Doodh kharab ho jayega, huh? The milk will go bad. It's called perishable. So what is imperishable? Does not go bad at all. Any imperishable products you know in the material world? Anyone? Any imperishable products in this material world you know of? Ujjwala Samataji is saying no. Sundar Prabhu is saying yes. Anyone who know any imperishable product? You and me. Atma, imperishable. Isn't it? There's nothing mundane. Mundane has to be perishable. Has to be. So, Mrityu-loka, everything dies. But Atma doesn't die. Huh? So Abhyaya. So we are also in one sense Abhyaya. Not obviously in terms of body, in terms of soul. Sharirastho. Sharir mein sthit. Who is sthit in the sharir? Inside? The soul is sthit. So who is situated in this body? Obviously not the body, but sarirastho, prakrtistho. If you remember the previous one, prakrtistho. Prakrti mein sthit, sharir mein sthit. So one who is situated in the sharira. Kaunteya, Arjun. So if you have this qualities of soul in your mind, anadi, beginningless, beyond the modes of material nature, transcendental, imperishable, situated inside the body. If you have that vision, nakaroti, nanlipyate. Nakaroti refers to is not a doer. Same 327 or 1330 we can say. Nanlipyate, and that soul does not get entangled. Lipyate means entangled. So if you have that equal vision, Prabhupada writes in the beginning, those with the vision of eternity can see the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, beyond the modes of nature. So imperishable, what's the Sanskrit word for that? Avyaya. Transcendental, param. Eternal, anadi, beyond the modes of material nature, nirgunatvat. Despite the contact with the material body, which is situated in the body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. Does anything is karoti, na karoti, and na lipate is not entangled. So if you have that vision, if you remember in the second chapter towards the end, what was the section? I forgot. Isthita Pragya. Thank you. Sthita Pragya section. In the Sthita Pragya section, if you are a Sthita Pragya, your soul will be situated in the body, but you will not be entangled. You will not be the doer. But our soul, because we are not in that platform, is the doer in the sense like we get entangled. Soul itself does not do anything, but through the soul, our body does with that consciousness of Bhukti, and then we get entangled. Now 1333 is a related verse here. Vinay Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. 33.
Yes.
Sharvatra yavasthito dehe.
Yatha sarvagatam sokshmyad. It's
Oh,
33.
sorry. Okay. Jatha sarvagatam sokshmad.
Yatha sarvagatam sokshmyad.
Akasham no yupulipate.
Akasham nopalipyate.
Sharvatra yavasthito dehe.
Sarvatra avasthito dehe.
Tathatmana yupulipate.
Tathatma nopalipyate.
Translation: the sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, though situated in that body. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So, Yatha Sarvagatam Sokshmyad. So, Sokshmyad refers to Sukshma. Sukshma means subtle. Like we have some gross elements and some subtle elements. Anyone remembers gross and subtle elements from 7th chapter? 7.5. Bhumir?
Earth, water, fire, ether.
Thank you. They are the gross elements. We can feel it or we can touch it. And what are the subtle elements in the same verse?
Mind, intelligence, and false ego.
So we all know they exist, but we can't see or touch. We can only like experience them. So this similarly, Sokshmyad, subtle element, Akasham. So Akash here refers to, now Akash is translated as per Prabhupada as sky, but it says it's very difficult to translate the Akash word into English. It says it can be sky or it can also be ether. Now, what's the difference? So again, in English, it's hard to say, but in Sanskrit, it's called kham. Kham is ether. Sometimes they get translated ether or sometimes as Akash. So Akash is something, if you remember Akash, like you can see the sky from your window. Now, within the sky, what exists? Wind exists, for example. Can we say wind is within the sky? Yes. But does the sky gets contaminated with the presence of wind? No. When the wind, sometimes you get a very nice smell of flowers, when you get Radha Gopinath garland sometimes, when you smell it, so beautiful smell. And sometimes the wind will carry the foul smell. When you get the foul smell, you like, oh, bhag jao, run away from this sort of that location. But when you get nice smell, kitni achhi smell hai, you feel very good. Is the wind getting contaminated with that foul smell or a good smell? No. Wind is always separate. Wind is just a carrier of that. So the wind is situated within the sky does not get lipete. Lipete means entangled. Similarly, soul is situated within the body. But if you have Brahman vision, the Ekvi vision, which is the whole thing which we are talking about, Gyan Chakshusha, soul is not, although situated in the body, does not get entangled with the actions of the body. An example can be given from 5.10. I'll just open the verse. I'll open 8. I think it's 9 and 10. 2 verses are there. Okay. I'll open 7. It exists. Okay. Yeah. So 5.8 to 9, it says, Naiva kinchat karom iti yukto manyate tattavit pashyan shravan sparshan jignan ashnan gachan sopan swashan. So whenever we are doing all these activities, a person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving, sleeping, breathing, and other activities, while speaking, he always knows that the only material senses are engaged with other objects, but he, as a soul, is aloof from them. So your body will have the soul is situated within the body, and body will be doing all these activities, normal activities, which a person does, but soul will not be entangled. It says na lipate. So in the previous verse, it says na karoti na lipate. He is not the doer. He does not get entangled. Here is re-emphasizing the point. he will not get entangled. And why Krishna is emphasizing? Because Krishna is talking to Arjuna and telling him again and again, if you do the warfare activities by remembering Krishna, tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmaritacha. If you do with that consciousness, with the equivision, then although your body is doing so-called violence, but you will not be lippete, because you remember one of the argument of Arjuna was, I'll get pap. I'll get all the sinful reactions. So Krishna is saying, na karoti na lippete. So you see the common theme in all these verses, equal vision, equal vision. See the presence of soul and the super soul. If we have that vision, then although situated in the body, you are involving yourself in different activities, you will not be entangled. So if you reverse this theme, why we are entangled? Because our vision is not complete. What do we see? We see the forms, not the substance behind the form. So what do we see? A body, sort of, we see, right? He's my friend, he's my enemy, I like this person, I dislike this person. He's Indian, he's American, he's Russian, blah, blah, blah. We see all these forms. Does our vision, practically speaking, goes to he or she is a soul? The super soul is situated. And because the soul is conditioned, is performing those actions. If you have that vision, then you are separated yourself from the bodily doings. But because we are not separated, we get entangled. And then when we speak some bad words about someone, we get the karma, we get aparadh sometime. Okay, another example is given, how soul is situated in the body. 1334. Prasannatma Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
यथा प्रकाशयति एकः
Yata prakasheti ekaha
कृष्णं लोकम् इमं रवि
Krishnam lokam imam ravihi
क्षेत्रं क्षेत्री तथा कृष्णं
Kshetram Kshetri tatha Krishnam
प्रकाशति भारत.
Prakashayati Bharata.
O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity. One within the body illuminates the entire body by consciousness.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So we'll just see how Krishna is saying, Yatha prakashyati iti ekaha. Ekaha refers to ek, one. And we see the second line, Ravi. Ravi means sun. So ek, how much sun we have, how many suns we have in this universe? Say one Ravi. One Ravi or one sun. Is one sun enough to illuminate the whole universe? Yes. We get all the planets get illumined by that same sun. One sun is situated, it illumines the whole universe. So, yatha prakashyati iti ekaha. Prakashyati means illumines. Ekaha means ek, Ravihi. Krishnam. Krishnam word anyone remembers from the previous discussion in the 9th chapter also? Krishnam means pura, whole.
Pura,
akhil. Akhil, akha. Whatever you want to call it, Marathi. Akha. Akha, they call it Jamati Mata. Well, actually, Ujjwala Sahib, Mataji and Akhand Sahib also speak Marathi, right? So,
Yeah,
Akhila.
Sabandh.
Sabandh.
Sampurna.
Sampurna. Sampurna. Sampurna, Akhila, Krishnam, they all same words. So, Krishnam Lokam. Krishnam is all the lokas. Ek Ravi. One sun illumines all the lokas. Tatha, similarly, Tatha, Krishnam again, Krishnam Prakashyati. Krishnam Prakashyati means it illuminates the whole Kshetra. Who is illuminating the whole Kshetra? Kshetri. So Kshetri illuminating the whole Kshetra, Prakashyati, Krishnam, the whole Kshetra it illumines as if a Ravi, one Ravi illumines the whole universe. So this basically is saying our body is not active because our brain is active, our heart is active, and blah, 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 all the so-called scientific reasons. Why our body is active? Because the divine part of the consciousness is present within. And who gets the energy? Who gives the energy to this soul? Super soul gives the energy. And because of the presence of soul, that is small particle, what's the size of that soul given in Bhagavad Gita? Anyone remembers from 2nd chapter?
1 by 10,000 part to the tip of the hair.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So the 2nd chapter, Prabhupada gives this explanation. He said, soul is extremely tiny, but it gives consciousness to the whole body. And as soon as the soul goes out of this body, the same body, maybe, 7 feet tall, and maybe the award or of 50 medals from here and there is of no use. And Prabhupada, or I think one of the disciples of Prabhupada, was giving an example. If the president body is there, president, all the countries saluting the president and following the instruction of president. When the same president dies, the soul goes out of the body. You kick on the face of the president, nothing happens. Nothing happens. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, as one speaker was giving this example. So there was a Qazi, the Qazi, like the chief of the village, you can say, like a Jamidar. In Mughal reign, they had these Qazis, sort of landlord, the owner of certain areas. So this Qazi has a kutia, has a witch. He says, once she died, so he was doing the final rites of the kutia for the witch. And he says, when he went to the crematory ground, the whole village came. Because it was the wish of the Qazi. So when the Qazi ki kutia died, the whole village came. But when the Qazi died, no one came. So this is our world is. We think people respect us so much. People respect us so much. No one respects us actually in that sense. People respect your position. People respect your connections. So this world is full of selfish people, When your kutia will die, they will come and show, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that sad news. Your dog has passed away. But when the Qazi himself died, not even one person was there. So Prabhupada said, when we leave this world, that's why we have to leave some legacy behind. How people are going to think about us. It's not a matter of what is my right and what is your right. It's not about that. It's about what we're going to leave. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj said many times in his classes, he said, people will not remember for what you have. People will not remember for what you have. People will remember you for what you have given to the world. Suppose I have, $10 billion. No one will remember me. I have many extraordinary skills, intelligence skills, speaking skills, singing skills, blah, blah, blah. No one will remember me for that. The people will remember you for what you have given to others. So if you really want to leave some legacy behind, and it's our Vedic message as well, we should give. When you give, then people will remember. And my Guru Maharaj says, you give more than what you get. If you remember this one simple sutra in our life, many times, we'll be successful in our dealing with others. We'll be satisfied. Others will be satisfied with us. Now, again, you cannot satisfy every single person. But in most of the dealings, if people are a little open-minded, they will receive you with their heart. It's a nice person. And that's very nice. Okay. So this is another example of Ravi, of sun, how it illumines the body, our soul. Give the consciousness, Prabhupada writes, illuminate the entire body by consciousness. Okay, let's move to the last verse of this chapter and this section as well. Who will read this? Maybe Akhandasa Prabhuji can read.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I'll try, Prabhu. Verse 35. Kshetra kshetragyor evam.
Kshetra kshetragyor evam.
Antaram jnana chakshusha.
Antaram jnana chakshusha.
Bhuta prakriti moksham cha.
Bhuta prakriti moksham cha.
Ye viduryanti te param.
Ye viduryanti te param.
Translation. Those who see with eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in material world and material nature, attain the supreme goal. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, very simple Sanskrit words are used here. Kshetra. So, Kshetra we know, the area. Now, Kshetra, another can mean, and I've said this, I think, in the past, area of influence. In Hindi, they also call Kshetra as Khet. In Hindi, the word Khet or farm, you say. Khet means Mera Khet. We say is my Khet. My Khet means my area of influence. And that's the word from Sanskrit, actually, Kshetra. My Kshetra, my Khet. So, Kshetra, Kshetra Gayor Evam. Antaram Jnana Chakshusha. So, one who knows the difference between Kshetra and Kshetragya. Now, what the whole word understands, Kshetra is there, but Kshetragya is not there, right? Because they say, I am the body. And what we say as a aspiring devotee, we can say, am I the body? I'm separate from the body. This is my body. That you can say, okay? You can say it's my car and blah, blah, blah. That's still not so bad. But saying this is me, that's very different. And Prabhupada, I think, was giving a class somewhere in a school in a Western world somewhere. Some teenager students. And Prabhupada proved in the class, like within minutes, he said, when you have pain, you say, my hand is paining, my leg is paining, my eyes are weak, my eyes are strong, I am beautiful, whatever. And Prabhupada says, where is that me? None of the students could respond to Prabhupada this argument. None of the students. Prabhupada said, there's a big gap here. There's a big gap here. Where is that me? My. So antaram means difference. So you should know the difference through Jnana Chakshusha. Now this is the word on which this last 7 or 8 verses has been grouped together under Jnana Chakshusha. So again, Jnana Chakshusha means, Prabhupada writes as vision of knowledge. Now Bhuta Prakati Moksham Cha, Ye Vidur. Vidur means again one who knows that. Yanti means they will achieve, Te Param, they will achieve the transcendental situation. I'll just read Prabhupada purport here, very nice. This is a summary Prabhupada Ji is giving here. The purport of this 13th chapter is that one should know the distinction between the body, the owner of the body, and the super soul. Isn't it? This is the 3 things which we were reading throughout the whole chapter. One should recognize the process of liberation as described in verses 8 to 12. Anyone remembers the theme of 8 to 12? What was the theme? 8 to 12? Gyan. 20 elements of Gyan. 8 to 12. So one should recognize the process of liberation described in the verse. Then one can go on to the supreme destination. So these 3 things which we were discussing earlier, the body, the owner of the body, and the super soul. Now body here you can say Prakriti, right? It's Prakriti, and this is Purusha, and this is Purushottama. So if you know these 3 things, they becomes your Gaya. And what is the purpose of that? So these are your object of knowledge, and the goal of knowledge will be getting the love of Krishna. Start loving Krishna. Otherwise, Shrama eva hi kevalam. You can do all these intellectual exercise of 13th chapter, but you don't increase your love towards the Supreme Lord, then Shrama eva hi kevalam. You've just wasted your energy. Okay. I'll stop here. If someone has a quick question, I can take. Otherwise, we'll move to the next chapter. Everyone is fully satisfied. I know 13th chapter is a little bit technical and is considered a little bit sort of above the head chapter sometime. You can feel it, but eventually if you can understand just 3 aspects, the nature, the Atma, and the absolute truth, and their interaction, and everything is happening in this nature actually is a vikar. Vikar means transformation. And if you can understand that way, and we should not get involved with that. We can work with it. Work with it means you work with it. You're going to work, you're working with your boss, with your colleagues, but you're not getting involved too much with them. And then we can stay as a devotee and still go back to Godhead towards the end. So it's not about escapism here. We're not escaping from our duties, not escaping from the word. It's just using it properly. Okay, let's go to the next chapter, which is very, very interesting chapter, chapter 14, the 3 modes of material nature, very important chapter. Now, these modes of material nature will not only described in the 14th chapter, but in subsequent chapters of Bhagavad Gita as well, especially in 17 and 18 and 16 as well, actually. So very, very important concepts will be discussed here, and we use these modes of material nature, their products, every single second of our life. And that's how we are sort of entangled. And if we understand them clearly, they will help us to get out as well. Okay, Jai Dharma Prabhu.
Sorry, Prabhu, I don't know whether I missed this point. You might have explained. I think Prakriti, when you said it is also eternal, right, Prabhu? I mean to say, although it takes different forms.
Yes.
So when the pralaya happens, the dissolution happens.
Yes.
Does this gets also like annihilated by Lord, or will that still remain?
Yes, very nice question, Prabhuji. Thank you. So Prabhu's question is Prakriti eternal? So The short answer is yes, Prabhuji, is eternal. Now, what happens when the pralay, annihilation happens? And I think you're referring to the complete annihilation towards the end. Yes, so it says in Mahavishnu's body, all the prakriti, because he inhales, when he inhales, he does not just inhale the jivas, he obviously inhales the whole prakriti. So it says bubbles come out of his every pore of his body, Mahavishnu's body. So when he inhales everything. Now, everything includes the jivas who still not have become eligible to go back to Godhead, plus the prakriti. But prakriti does not like disappear at any moment. So prakriti always stay. Now, which prakriti we are talking, that we can define, material prakriti or spiritual prakriti. But prakriti itself is always eternal. And it stays with the Lord.
Okay, thank you.
Manmohan Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu,
Hare
just
Krishna.
for the same thing, I had the same question.
Yes.
What happens to Shirodakshai Vishnu and Karnodakshai Vishnu at the same time?
Yes. So very good question. So Prabhu asked about the Prakriti, and Manmohan Prabhuji is asking about what happens to the other two forms of Vishnu. So we have three Vishnus, as everyone know: Karnodakshai Vishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Shirodakshai Vishnu. So Prabhu's question is when Karnodakshai Vishnu, or also known as Mahavishnu, inhales the whole this Prakriti. So what happens to that two Vishnus? So the simple answer is, Prabhuji, they get merged into the body. So, and then they appear again when the Brahmanda appears, so Garbhodakshai first comes, and when the Jivas appear, Shirodakshai appears. So they appear when there's a need, they disappear when there is no need. But the Jiva is also eternal, Prakriti is also eternal. There's only one thing which is non-eternal. So there are 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita, as we all know. Baldev Vidyabhushan writes 5 topics. Anyone remembers those 5 topics which we have discussed?
Prakriti, Ishvara, Jiva, Kala,
Karma.
Karma. Thank you. Jai Dharma. Jai Dharma Prabhu always there. So there are 5 topics. Out of these 5, only one thing is temporary. Everything else is eternal. Anyone can say what is that one thing?
Karma is temporary.
Thank you. Karma is temporary. Karma can be annihilated completely of a devotee. Example in Bhagavad Gita, karma can completely be annihilated. It's given in Bhagavad Gita, a famous verse. Sarva dharmanu parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo. Sarva papebhyo. Now, what's the definition of pap? Now, there are multiple definitions of pap. One of the definition of pap is one action which leads you against Krishna. That's pap. That's pap. Now, you can be a big pandit, but if you have ego that I am a big pandit, that's the action against Krishna, isn't it? With that ego, you can't go back to Godhead. So it doesn't matter what sort of papa you have. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj was giving a class in Sydney Temple many years ago, and Maharaj gave a very simple example. I think someone asked, Maharaj, is tea okay? This simple person asked a question to Maharaj, and Maharaj very nicely said, he said, you know that tea has nicotine. Nicotine is like a poison. Is a small poison okay? Maharaj very innocently asked this question to this guy. And he said, no. Maharaj said, is small poison okay? Big poison, I understand, you'll say not okay, but is small poison okay? And this guy said, no. He said, then it's not needed. It's not needed. So very simple thing. Pap and punya is not just defined on when I'm hurting someone is pap and when I'm so-called helping. No, it's not like that. That's also one definition, very gross definition. But the main thing is pap means anything does not lead to Krishna is pap. And punya, real definition, when anything which takes you towards Krishna is punya. Now we can translate these words in a material terms and say, okay, don't hurt someone, don't speak lies and all that. That's pap. Okay, that's fine. Very high level definition. So they appear and they disappear as per the need. So if we are saying aham tvam sarva papebhyo, that means any action which you have done which did not lead you so far to Krishna, I will annihilate it. I will take it. Don't worry about it. Any action. Is that okay? Manmohan Prabhu, I think you're on mute.
So even if it is a good karma, it is still considered papa.
Definitely, Prabhuji. I'll tell you one example of Dinbandhu Prabhu. You know Dinbandhu Prabhuji, Prabhupada disciple, one who takes yatra in Vrindavan. Very nice devotee. So one day I heard in my Guru Maharaj lecture, or somewhere, I can't remember. I'm sorry. So he was taking yatra in Vrindavan, and they came to the Keshi Ghat. So everyone was taking bath in Yamuna, and while they were taking bath in Yamuna, Dinbandhu Prabhu, he's a very joking person as well, and he said, "Can anyone tell me the difference between Ganga and Jamuna?" And you're like, yes, if you bathe in Ganga and Jamuna, sort of same, Ganga and Jamuna. Ganga, if you take bath, all your sins are destroyed. And Dinbandhu Prabhu said, yes, very nice. In Ganga, you take bath, all your sins are destroyed. And in Yamuna, if you take bath, all your sins as well as punyas get destroyed. And it says half of the people started coming out because who want to lose their punya? It's very hard to accumulate punya in this material world. So Maharaj was joking, but we're saying, half of the people coming out, that means we want to lose our papa, but not punya. But why punya? Because punya also binds you, isn't it? If you do a lot of good activities, this material I'm talking, that will bind you. You do a lot of charity. And it says, Sankarshan Maharaj says, if you do a lot of charity, doing distribution of food or medicine, in one birth sometime, you will become hungry and someone will come and help you. Now, is that a very good situation? Being born in some family where you don't even get your food or your medicine or your clothes. So it's not a good situation. And that's why we're going to read in this chapter, even sattva will bind you. And that's why we have to transcend all the modes. Because in this prakriti, in this nature, there is no such thing called shuddha. There's nothing pure. Even sattva is mixed. Sattva is, say, Prabhupada gave one beautiful example. In this material world, the best love which we give simile of a mother's or a father's love for a child, their love is almost pure. Prabhupada says almost pure, but not shuddha, not pure. Parents also sometimes have this expectation when they become old, my child will look after me, he will help me. And that's not wrong. It's not wrong. But the point being made here, nothing is shuddha sattva here. There's no such thing. And that's why when you say shuddha sattva, this is called transcendental. But the word in Sanskrit, shuddha sattva. And the example given, a humorous example given, like you say ghee and say shuddha deshi ghee. Why you have to write shuddha? Ghee has to be shuddha, right? But because ghee is not shuddha, they write shuddha, 100% ghee. Something like that, right? In the product. But that's not needed. Ghee has to be pure. So sattva, but this does not exist. Now that ghee is still, after writing Shuddha 100% Deshi ghee, they put a lot of undesirable things in that ghee as well. So this is how this world is. There is no such thing called Shuddha Sattva. Even Shuddha passion doesn't exist. Shuddha ignorance. Sorry to use that word. Because everything is mixed in this material world. Our feelings are mixed. All the divine, demonic, everything is mixed. Shuddha is only at one place, with Krishna, with Krishna's devotees in Goloka Vrindavan. Is that okay, Prabhu? Okay. Sundar Gopal Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, when we say that punya and papa both binds us, and and previously we learned that our spiritual, whatever we have gained spiritually, it never vanishes. So these are two different things. Like
absolutely.
Okay.
So if you give Mataji, for example, a 5 rupee to a beggar in the red light, for example, that's considered a punya activity. Now, if you give prasad, and that can include laddu or peda or even 5 rupees. Krishna, it's your 5 rupees I'm giving to this soul who doesn't have it, and in my feeling, he or she needs this 5 rupee. That becomes prasad. So you're not the owner there. You're just a messenger. You're just passing the Krishna's Lakshmi to Krishna's another soul. That's all it is. So that's a spiritual activity. But Radhanath Maharaj have said many times, don't give money to these people, give prasad. One time Radhanath Maharaj was traveling in a car with his driver. So on the red light, someone knocked the window, just a normal case in India. So Maharaj said to the driver, please give him some prasad. And driver said, sorry, I don't have prasad. Now, earlier, Maharaj had instructed this driver to carry prasad. And this time, Maharaj was a bit upset at this driver. He said, next time, if you don't carry prasad, I'm going to take your shirt and donate it. And then this driver always makes sure, when he's taking Maharaj from A to B, he's always carrying some prasad in the car. So Maharaj says, give prasad to these people. So that way, they're not going to misuse that facility. So give them a cookie or whatever. But if nothing exists, nothing is with you, you may give some Lakshmi, but use discrimination as much as possible. And then Krishna knows. My Guru Maharaj said many times people don't donate in some temples thinking, again, not recommending you to be blind, but at the same time, don't over-investigate. Is my money is going to use for this purpose or that purpose? Is it okay or not okay? Maharaj said, don't over-analyze. You're giving to Krishna. We were in Vrindavan in Yatra with Guru Maharaj once, many years ago. So Maharaj said, just give generously. Now some people complained, they may not use money properly. He said, it's Vrindavan, you're going to go give to Krishna. It's okay. It's okay. Krishna knows why are you giving. So I'm saying, don't go extreme ends either place. Don't like not give and they may misuse. And don't go to the other end as well. No, just be blind and just give anything, anytime, anywhere. No, both ends are not recommended. Just be in the middle ground. Be a messenger. Whatever the situation is, you take a good decision based on your, super soul's instruction, and be Krishna conscious. And then whatever happens, we are not the controllers. We don't know everything in the world. How much we know anyway. So people may use, 60% of your money properly and 40% they may misuse, right? That pujari will get the karma. You don't have to over investigate at every single situation. Otherwise, we'll get overwhelmed and will not go anywhere. Because sometimes I've seen even in our temple, people over investigate. Again, not saying to be blind, at the same time, you're giving to basically Krishna. So, yeah, some examples which
So
came to my mind.
a devotee is taking a bath in Yamuna.
Yes.
So the devotee should not be fearful of anything, because the devotee is doing whatever he's doing to please Krishna, and he wants everything to be done in the right way as per the scriptures, as per the Guru Maharaj, to please Krishna and eventually to meet Krishna and to go back to Godhead.
Yes.
So that punya and that points will still be there, because we all would like to have more spiritual piety to meet Krishna eventually. So that one should not fear that, in Yamuna, when we say that punya wash away, those punyas related to Krishna wouldn't be washing away.
It says, if you want to, just as a principle I'm talking, meet Krishna face to face, we have to leave everything, including your punya. Including your punya. It's not about, yeah, definitely, Papa, no doubt about it, no discussion about it, including your punya. An example is given of gopis. Gopis left, gopis were in Vedic culture, and for that culture, a married lady, to go out in the middle of the night was considered extremely abominable. Any lady who stepped out of the house, you must have heard in Ramayana as well, was considered quite bad. But they left, but they were still worshipped even by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vyasadeva, Parashar Muni, they're all worshipping gopis as the highest devotee. Why? From a worldly perspective, Apche Sudurachara Bhajte Mamanane Bhak. They were doing Sudurachar, not Durachar, Sudurachar, from worldly perspective. But they are worshipped even by the Lord. And Lord said, I don't have anything to reciprocate you. So your own acts are your glorification is the only thing which I can return you. And they are glorified by everyone. So we have to leave everything if we want to leave to meet the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What to speak of this punya. Now, one more thing I just wanted to add there, what you said. It's not just Yamuna bath will give you this. It's the consciousness with which you take Yamuna bath. I can be in Sydney and I can still take a pure Yamuna bath. I'm just saying, one person may be in real Yamuna in Vrindavan and may not take Yamuna bath. So it's not a physical Yamuna bath which we are talking. It's definitely important, and we should go and do all the Ganga bath and Triveni bath and all that. That's very nice. But that's not the foremost thing. And we'll read in NOI the last verse by Rupa Goswami, where it says to bathe in Radhakund. And there's a big explanation. We'll talk about it. So it's not just a Yamuna bath. Okay, I have taken bath in Yamuna, so I must receive love of God. Not sure. So it's a consciousness which matters most. Again, physical acts are very important, and we should go to the Dham and receive the mercy of Dham Vasis and the Dham, Yamuna Maharani, Ganga Maharani, all the deities and temples, very nice. But it's more, Prabhupada said many times, actually, you cannot get an air ticket to Vrindavan. He said that you cannot get. You cannot buy a $1,000 air ticket, go to Delhi, get a taxi, and hey, I'm in Vrindavan. Really? Really? Now, it does not discourage anyone to go to Vrindavan. We are not saying that, but what we are saying, that's not the only act when your body goes. It's a big journey. It's a big journey. We are all on journey, and eventually it will not matter. If you remember, Madhavendra Puri has a famous prayer which Prabhupada has quoted in Bhagavad Gita at many places. I don't remember the Sanskrit words, but basically Madhavendra Puri says, "My naman to Sandhya Vandan, my naman to Gayatri, my naman to everything." Why? Because once I have become Krishna conscious, I am overwhelmed with the feeling of Krishna. I can't do anything else. Now, Madhavendra Puri is not doing 3 times Sandhya Vandan. He is not doing Gaura Arti or Chaurashtakam and Purushottamas and all that. But he is Madhavendra Puri. Krishna personally comes and delivers milk part to Madhavendra Puri. He's in a different situation. So once you become that conscious of Krishna, then you are in Vrindavan everywhere. My Guru Maharaj had a CD, and the CD name was "My Mind is Vrindavan." That's actually by Jiva Goswami, who says Vrindavan is a state of consciousness more than a physical place. So when we talk about this Jamuna taking bath and all that, definitely these statements are true, but you cannot just put in black and white for everyone. Because many Karbi people, they go and take bath, they come out and they do all the sinful activities as well. So we cannot say, "Arey, Yamuna mein bath leke aaye hain." They're still using foul words. Yes, many devotees are doing so many things. What can be said? So it's a journey of purification. It's not easy, and that's why it doesn't matter. You have taken initiation or not initiation. You have taken sannyas initiation. You know a lot of verses from Bhagavad Gita. In one sense, these things are very external. Unless your heart has transformed, who understands Krishna and who loves Krishna's devotee, very difficult, very, very difficult. That's why we all struggle, because the inner journey is nothing to do with our outside external dress and external whatever discussions you do. So same applies for Yamuna. I just wanted to make that point.
Thank you so much.
You can ask one follow-up thing here.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji, sorry.
Prabhu, you said we should, for example, we should give some donation or whatever, not to the temple. Let's say somebody, asking on the street or whatever. Even though we, from our heart, we would say, okay, I'm giving this Krishna, I'm giving this Lakshmi to somebody who probably needs it more. On the face of it, we might do that. What happens, Prabhu, if that Lakshmi is used in an abominable act, which is not? Do we get the karma for that thing, or?
That's why the point has been made here. You should apply your discriminatory power. Otherwise, if he does any violence or some drink alcohol and all that, you do get karma back. And it's written in 18th chapter. We'll read about Dan in mode of ignorance, charity in mode of ignorance. There's a whole section of verses given in Bhagavad Gita itself. So you should not give charity in mode of ignorance, and there are characteristics given as well. But in some cases where you had full desire to help this person as a Krishna conscious messenger, but he misused money, Krishna will take care of those things. Because when we under the shelter of Krishna, like you're walking on the street, Prabhuji, you may kill some ants or some other living entities. You didn't mean to kill, you didn't mean to hurt any limb, but you do accidentally, unknowingly. Krishna takes care of that actually. So that's why I'm saying devotees should not overanalyze as well. Because that's where the shelter of Krishna should be felt. But it doesn't mean you become blind. Everything Krishna will take care. No, then what's the point of whole Bhagavad Gita? Why Krishna is saying do this and don't do this? No, definitely the discriminatory power is needed, and this is what we are developing through reading of Shastra. We are sharpening our discriminatory power. What we should do, what we should not do, whom we should associate, whom we should not associate with. So our Shastra is sharpening the sword of our intelligence so that we can do the right thing at the right time. And that's why it's a journey.
Thank you.
Now we have 2 more hands. Manmohan Prabhu or Mataji.
Prabhuji, sorry, this was just an extension of what Sundar Prabhu said. So should I mention that?
Okay, if Manmohan Prabhu is okay.
I also have the same thing, Prabhu. So let Mataji go first.
Let Mataji go first. Okay.
So if we give it with the best of intentions, with full knowledge that this Lakshmi we have is given by Krishna, and we are giving with the best intention to help the other person, that he is in need. But as there is always a chance that he might misuse it fully or part of it. And you said that there will be some karmas associated with that.
I said both aspects. I said both aspects.
Both aspects meaning?
So yes, if you do not use this discriminatory power and give dawn blindly, and that money is misused, you get a karma back. But if we are saying you are just a messenger of the Lord, and with your best intention, thinking this poor person really needs medication, I don't have medicine, he needs 50 rupees or whatever, and you give it, Krishna will take care of it. So
yeah, but when we often we come across the beggars, they are knocking on the car, and then we don't know what they are going to do with it. And many a times we hear that it's misused. So in that case, we don't have prasad sometimes, even though we should be carrying. So in that case, what should be done?
Radhanath Maharaj, give your shirt, carry prasad. And worst case, as I already mentioned, Mataji, yeah, you help someone, and then if he misuses something, what can we do? But most of the situations, we should carry prasad with us, carry some books with you, carry something which cannot be misutilized other than Krishna. And even after that, you see a situation, don't be hard-hearted, because sometimes devotee become hard-hearted. It's not recommended. Like Bharat Maharaj, when he saw the deer, what did he do? He picked up the deer. He saved his life. He did not say, oh, I'm a devotee, I'm chanting my rounds and let the deer die. He didn't say that. He got up. He stopped his chanting. He got up. He saved the life. Now, what he did, those moments was perfectly fine. What he did wrong? Later on. Later on, he should not got have distracted. Now, what's the need of Solamala? What's the need of chanting 16 rounds? What's the need of doing my Gayatri or doing my puja? That act of compassion is never actually said anywhere that was not good. No, it's not said. But later on, he should have dropped the deer in an ashram or with some family of deer or something. Something should. I love this little baby. He's very cute, but I can't handle it. Probably spiritual life. So then it's been said that he should have done something better. But devotee should not be hard-hearted. Our heart should be compassionate. But again, compassion in the right direction. As much as possible. We are little jivas. How much we know. Okay, Manmohan Prabhu. Same question?
Same question, but a little bit like taking it further. Like
complex.
Now, somebody came with tilaka and kanti mala, wearing dhoti kurta, asking for money, and then we offered him prasadam, like, we'll get you prasad rather than giving money, because we didn't, like, not knowing what he's going to do. And then he started getting angry because he didn't want the prasad, but he wanted the money. Even after that, we gave a very small amount, and he was not happy with the small amount. So almost in the mood of cursing us.
Yes, I can understand.
In the Navan, wearing tilak, kanti mala, everything. So, like, then in those situations, what should we do?
What you have done correctly, and then you fold your hands and walk out.
We did that.
There are local pandas. Probably I also have been in this similar situation. I got cursed as well. What can I say? You just have to walk out. I gave a little money, like 5 rupees or something, but I came out. So their words have no impact. My Guru Maharaj actually explains that. He said, if a Gidar, Gidar give curse to Sheshanag, for example, or Garuda. If Gidar give curse to Garuda, will Garuda get impacted by that curse? Now, we are not saying they are Gidar, we are Garuda. I'm not saying that. But the point here of devotion is they will give curse to you. So what to speak on this situation? Many people without this situation also sort of curse you, or curse us, I should say, or sort of misjudge us or misrepresent us. What are you going to do? Radhanath Maharaj said very clearly about these things, criticism, devotee getting criticized. Maharaj very clearly said, let them say. They're actually taking your pap away. You should be happy in that sense. So we cannot stop anyone's mouth. So if they cursed you, and I'm saying, I was in Haridwar, I got a curse from this professional, and I could see he's a professional. I didn't mind actually. Okay, whatever. I did my dharma, right? I didn't want to even do that, but I did that. Putting tilak and all that. I just walked out. I was taking bath in Ganga. I came out. I said, Hare Krishna, do whatever, say whatever. Means it's just what to do. It's difficult, but Shastra gives the answer. Our Guru Maharaj gives the answer. So don't worry. Radhanath Maharaj has spoken very elaborately on these subject matters. So even Krishna cannot satisfy technically. He can, but practically, he could not satisfy Duryodhana, could not satisfy Ravan. No, not that he could not. He could have put the gun on the head of Ravan, Deta hai ki nahi? He didn't do that, all that. Huh? He respected Ravan's independence as well. ठीक है, तुम्हें fight करना है करो. मरना है तो मरो अभी. What I'm going to do, you really want to die? Rama literally gave so many opportunities to Ravan. Even the last day, last to last day, he said to Ravan, you are very tired. You have killed many Vanaras today. You must be very tired. There's no fun in killing a tired enemy. Go back, come back tomorrow. I'll finish you off tomorrow. Not Ram's telling. Even the last day, Ram is saying, Arey Baba, get some intelligence here. And he went back and he came back again next day to die. What Ram can do, what Ram can do. Oh, Lord, how much Lord can do? He does so much for Jiva. So, the short answer is, your heart should be clear. I was hearing Gaur Krishna Maharaj from Radha Govind Maharaj disciple, sannyasi disciple, very, very nice Maharaj. He left his body a few years ago. The point he was saying, if you offend someone, for example, I'm just talking devotee community, and you go and ask for forgiveness. What if this devotee does not forgive you? Right? It may happen, right? A and B had some disagreement. A went and apologized to B. Although A was not at fault, he still apologized. But B is very stubborn. I will not forgive, and this blah, 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 blah. He said, when A leaves the body, if A's heart was clear, A will go back to body. Because he has no control over B. So many times we get absorbed so much in the consciousness of B kya soch raha hai, B kya soch raha hai, B kya soch raha hai. Let B thinks what B thinks. What can you do? But your heart should be clear. You should not be feeling, B has done harm to me, B has done wrongdoings to me. It's all right. It was my karma. It was Krishna's arrangement. So your heart, just a message for everyone from Shastra, not from me. I'm also struggling, but your heart should be clear before you leave the body. So let your heart be clear, because you have control over your consciousness. You have no control over your other's consciousness. Prabhupada got criticized, Krishna got criticized, Ram got criticized, Sita Mata got criticized. So some people will criticize you, and we. Yeah, so no, we shouldn't do anything wrong, obviously, and we will make mistakes at the same time. So we should have a humble attitude. Yes, we make a mistake. I ask for forgiveness if I have hurt you in any way. After that, we should leave it to Krishna. So from our side, we should do attempt to ask for forgiveness, attempt to rectify ourselves, attempt to not be engaged in certain activities which may be anti-devotional, but we are humans. We will make mistakes. Someone may get hurt without even you offending that person. So what are you going to do about it, Prabhu? You did not mean to offend him or her, but they felt offended by your action or words. Now tell me, what are you going to do? Except to fold your hands and say, please forgive me. Nothing much you can do from your heart. Okay, sorry if you felt offended. I didn't mean it. So these curses by these professionals, I've been gone Jagannath Puri, Ujjain. I've been in certain situations, similar situations. I just walked with my mala in hand. I just walked. I did not hurt, or I did not say, I did not do. I did what I thought was good, and then I just walked out. That's a simple solution, because they said you should not criticize Dhamvasis because they are Dhamvasis. Somehow Krishna has given them birth there. So you should not offend them. And you should not judge, some devotees, Jagannath Puri, they don't follow Ekadashi, this and that. And our Guru Maharaj have told, it's none of our business what they do. They follow Ekadashi, they don't follow Ekadashi. And Pandas will actually encourage you. You are in Jagannath Puri, no one follows Ekadashi. But our acharyas are very clear. We always follow Ekadashi because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu followed Ekadashi. Now, Jagannath Puri Panda and other citizens may not follow. It is none of our business. They are doing right or wrong. We don't have to preach to them. You know what I'm saying? It's any dham you go, Prabhu, Barsana you go, similar situations will come. Local people will try to get, 50,000 rupees from you. Actually, one Mataji was telling a sister or brother, whoever went there, and actually he had to give 50,000 rupees on the spot to this person, on the spot. When I heard that, I'm like, really? And you gave? He was about to curse and this and that. I'm like, this is how they make the money. It's none of our business to sort of judge them. At the same time, we are not blind. It's Krishna's money. You give 50,000, no problem, to a proper way to Krishna. Okay. Does that answer your question, Prabhu?
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nicely explained. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I'm looking at the watch. It's 5:50, so I think it's not appropriate to start a new chapter. I thought we will start today, but somehow we couldn't. No problem. We'll start next time. Modes of material nature. It's a very, very interesting chapter and very practical verses Krishna is giving, which will literally open our eyes. Whenever I read this chapter, I really like this chapter. So I hope you'll all enjoy this chapter. Any other announcements of the Gopal Prabhuji we have?
Not really for this week, Prabhu, but the following week we decided for 3rd of September to be in person.
Okay, yes.
We'll publish
So
today.
I'm very excited to see you all in person, besides exam thing, when all of your faces are so stressed out. I get stressed out by seeing your faces. So it will be very nice to see you in a normal face. So we'll see you all. Same time we'll start. And I think it's at Mohit Prabhu's place, the Prabhu.
We'll confirm with him, Prabhu.
We'll confirm. Okay. It will be somewhere. Mohit Prabhu's place or somewhere. We'll inform. Okay. Anyone have anything else quickly? Jayadharma Prabhu, you have a hand. Is it just a raised hand or no? Okay.
No.
Okay, all good. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you again for all the efforts of Purushottam Mass. It was very, very encouraging. And personally, I was very humbled by seeing, so much nice efforts. Even kids have done very, very wonderful seva for Krishna. So please keep it up. And this is how actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, alone we cannot go back to Godhead. But in a circle of nice, like-minded devotees, we can do a lot more than what we usually think we can't do. But in a circle of nice devotees, we can do so. Just be in the same circle, keep inspiring each other. And hopefully, by the end of this life, we'll have little more love for Krishna, little more than what we have now. Okay, I'll stop here. Thank you so much.